Hello, my fellow concerned friends, and welcome back to my channel. Thank you for stopping by once again. And if you're new to my channel, thank you so much for trying out my video out of this entire sea of videos to try out. I hope you stick around. I hope that you gain something beneficial from my content. And if you don't, I hope that you just feel safe and seen and feel a sense of community here. As you guys can obviously tell by the thumbnail and the title of this video, I am finally talking about the Epstein files. So before I get into it, I, like my last video, want to give a very clear disclaimer that today we are going to be talking about very graphic and violent and gruesome things, ranging from trafficking of children to essaying children to farming babies and consuming them. I'm not kidding. Okay? Please do not watch this video. If you can't handle it, please don't watch this. But people need to know that our president participated in this and that multiple celebrities out here participated in this. I don't care if they're politicians, left, right, in between. I don't care. Anybody who participated in this needs to be put under more than the jail. We need to dig a hole straight to the pits of hell and dump them in. And all of us gather around that hole and watch. I am so serious. I have not yet talked about the Epstein files pretty much anywhere, I think. And that is because this is really triggering for me. And now I love my work and I love what I do and I love being able to use my horrible experiences to spread awareness and help open people's eyes up a little bit more. But it doesn't take away from the fact that it is extremely triggering sometimes. And sometimes I need to take a step back, look in the mirror, look around myself and be like, I'm not back in the home of my stepfather, okay? But I will say what's been really triggering about this in particular, further than reading the things that I have read, is seeing people's response online. It is so incredibly triggering when you are a survivor of CSA. And if you don't know what CSA stands for, it stands for child sexual abuse. When you are a survivor of this, most of the time we weren't believed, right? I know for me in my case, when I told the police what happened, it's literally documented in a police report. The police then went to my mother and asked my mother if anything at all happened to me. And my mother told the police what my stepfather did, and my stepfather walks free to this day. I was not believed by my family. I was not supported. When I started sharing my story online, I was met with an onslaught of people telling me that I'm making it up. That's absurd. That would never happen. And I am not the only person that this has happened to. And what I went through is not even near as bad as what these victims went through. And so it is extremely triggering to see people make discussions about this online and talk about it casually, like these victims' statements and testimonies are up for debate just because it seems so far-fetched that it couldn't happen. This is a really triggering subject and topic for me, but I'm gonna do my best to get through this. And you know what? If I don't say things perfectly, I don't care. I really don't care. I'm probably going to say things imperfectly in this video because I am very triggered. I am angry. And I sit here wondering, after everything that has already come out, why nothing has been done. And I can't help but ask myself if anything ever even will be done. Now, obviously, we are not going to go through all of the Epstein files. Duh, there's way too many. And I have not read all of them, okay? Because I don't want to stumble across child material that the Department of Justice refused to redact. But go ahead and redact our president's face, right? Redact the president's name. But let's distribute CSAM in the name of justice. Are we joking? So I'm going to come at this video through the perspective of a reader. Yes, a reader. Because the things that I have seen in the Epstein files remind me so much of one of the most disgusting books I have ever read. And that is the book Tender is the Flesh. Tender is the Flesh is a novel written by Augustina Bazterrica. I hope I said that right. And essentially in this novel, you follow someone named Marcus. And Marcus lives in a world that is post-pandemic where humans cannot eat animals anymore. It is unsafe. They cannot eat animals anymore. So it becomes legal to consume human beings. So they end up determining, who would be human cattle essentially and who wouldn't. And the people that they deemed to be human cattle, they would call heads. And they wanted perfect genetic people for these heads to be able to breed heads together to create the perfect babies to be able to be consumed, essentially. There's no humanity for these heads in the book. They are quite literally described the same way we would describe cattle. Being auctioned off, knocked out, sold, shipped, and even processed in plants the same way we process our meat now. There comes a point in time where Marcus is gifted a head, a female head. When you are gifted a head or you own a head on your piece of land, you are legally to treat that person, that head, like an animal. So when he was gifted this head of a woman, a young woman, he kept her in the barn. She was tied up, wet, dirty, and we start to see that Marcus seems to have some compassion for her. He even ends up bringing her inside. He gives her a bath. He even tries to civilize her, giving her her own room, trying to get her to understand things like reading, TV, coloring, things that she's never known before. She doesn't even know how to speak. After a while, Marcus ends up impregnating this head, who he later named Yasmin. He impregnates Yasmin, which was a big no-no. Because in this society, they're looking for genetic perfection when it comes to this meat. It is not okay or acceptable for Marcus to have slept with the head. That was a big no-no. So that had to be kept secret. The pregnancy, everything. And mind you, this whole time, Marcus has a wife, but the wife is off, I believe, if I can remember right, visiting her sick mother or her sick sister. It's obviously not till the end of the story that Yasmin is ready to give birth. And that's when Marcus gets his wife to come and the wife helps deliver the baby, and Marcus and the wife helped deliver Yasmin and Marcus's baby. And you may be wondering, is this like a throuple situation now? No. They killed Yasmin and ate her. Because in the end, as much compassion as it seemed that Marcus showed Yasmin, seeing her as a person, bringing her in, all of these things, in the end, it was all because he actually just wanted a baby for him and his wife. He never saw her as a person. He still continuously only viewed her as cattle. And when we go through these files, you may be thinking to yourself, that book sounds so absurd. Who would write a story like that? That would never happen. That could never happen. I can't help but see similarities and parallels between the book Tender as the Flesh and the disgusting things that I am seeing in these Epstein files that our own president was involved in. And yeah, I'm harping so much on the president, Donald J. Trump, because he's the president of the United States right now. I would love to spend this entire video going through a list of names and just saying F you, F you, F you. But at the end of the day, right now, Donald J. Trump is the highest person in power in America right now. Why is he still in office when all of this evidence is out that the Department of Justice has? It's not even like some random person leaked this. So yes, I am going to go in on Donald J. Trump. For sake of ease, mainly for me to keep my train of thoughts together, I'm going to kind of have this video broken down in like 3 different segments. It's all going to be one video, don't worry. But those segments will be, number 1, focusing on the victims and the trafficking. Number 2, the forced pregnancies and births and miscarriages. And number 3, the actual murder and consumption of these babies. Now, I need you to know that all of these kind of overlap and intertwine with each other, but I just felt like in my brain that was easier to make this video kind of breaking it down into those 3, I guess, categories and progressions. I don't know. I'm just trying to make this as easy on my brain as possible and easy to follow along as possible, so I hope I'm doing you guys justice. A lot of this video will just be me reading to you guys some of these files and giving my commentary on it. And before we start, I once again want to reiterate that this could be extremely triggering. If you are a survivor of SA, even if you're not a survivor of SA, this is very disturbing. These are things that should only ever exist in the worst kinds of horror possible, but it is happening and has happened in our very real reality. Okay, I feel like I've given you enough of a warning. Without further ado, I'm just going to jump straight into reading these documents, so you have been warned. Blank reported an unidentified female friend who was forced to perform oral sex on President Trump approximately 35 years ago in New Jersey. The friend told Alexis that she was approximately 13 to 14 years old when this occurred, and the friend allegedly bit President Trump while performing oral sex. The friend was allegedly hit in the face after she laughed about biting President Trump. The friend said she was also abused by Epstein. At age 16, while modeling, Caller attended 8 parties at Epstein's New York residence. On one occasion, Caller reported she was sexually assaulted by Epstein. On another occasion, 2 twin brothers, Alan and Orrin, lured Caller and her friend upstairs, but they escaped back downstairs. Caller stated Orrin raped her best friend and a third brother, Tal, raped a 14-year-old girl named Blank. Caller named other individuals involved in big orgy parties with her, other young girls, and older Victoria's Secret models, including Bill Clinton and Donald Trump. Online complainant reported she was a victim and witness to a sex trafficking ring at the Trump golf course in Rancho Palos Verdes, California, between 1995 and 1996. Complainant reported Ghislaine Maxwell as the madam and broker for sex parties, clients of whom included Epstein, Robin Leach, and Donald Trump. Complainant reported participating in orgies and that some girls went missing, rumored to have been murdered and buried at the facility. Complainant reported being threatened by Trump's then head of security that if she ever talked of what went on there or who she saw, he would end up as fertilizer for the back 9 holes like the other kind. Because how do we have statements from victims explaining that Trump threatened to bury them on his golf course, just like the other people he buried, so that they could all just be fertilizer for his grass on his golf course, and nothing's done? You're not going to send dogs out there to sniff? We're not going to excavate it? We're not going to do anything? I don't understand how it's crazy to me that these criminals can just get away with this, even with proof, with the files released, and there's still nothing being done. Complainant following up after a call with NYPD officer regarding her previous tip, reporting that she was forced to perform sex acts when she was 13 years old and pregnant in 1984. Complainant also reported there were high-profile individuals involved in her sex trafficking and the murder and disposal of her newborn daughter. Complainant reported Donald Trump participated regularly in paying money to force her to perform sex acts with him, and alleged Trump was present when her uncle murdered her newborn child. Where is the pro-life crowd? Right, because Donald Trump is such a good Christian man who wants more babies on this earth because babies are God's gift, right? They vote to take away women's rights because a man who murders babies told them to. Where are you guys? It's in the files. Why have I not seen one Christian say anything seriously? I had this girl that I went to Pensacola Christian College with message me recently on Instagram trying to help me out because I'm posting things about being anti-ICE and anti our president, telling me, hey, be careful, I just care about you, I care about you. And I don't understand. Okay, me and her had this entire back and forth because I'm like, how dare you tell me to be careful about speaking out against injustices when all I've seen you post before I had to unfollow you was all about Charlie Kirk, but I've not seen anything about anything else. And then we're going back and forth and we're talking about all of this stuff, right? And she tells me that she doesn't understand why I'm so argumentative about small things that don't even really matter. What world are Christians living in right now? I'm so confused, okay? Because I used to be a Christian and I kind of understand still, believe it or not, because I remember the things that I was taught about being told, like, oh, shut off the outside world, right? We have faith in God. We don't actually have to be involved in anything. But you know what? I don't care anymore. I really don't care anymore. Adults, if you are an adult and you can see all of this stuff and still support a man because he might be forgiven by God or something, yeah, you're just as bad. You're just as bad. Go ahead and keep hiding behind your cross. Keep hiding behind your shield of Christianity. That does not take away from the fact that you people voted for this. People voted for this. Pro-life people voted for this man. And now they're sitting here on their hands, not saying anything and telling people like me that I should be quiet. And we wonder why we're here. Donald Trump, the president, had parties at Mar-a-Lago called Calendar Girls. Jeffrey Epstein would bring the children in and Trump would auction them off. He measured the children's vulva and vaginas by entering a finger and rated the children on tightness. The guests were elder men and included Elon Musk, Donald Jr. Trump, Ivanka Trump, and Eric Trump were there. Attorney Alan Dershowitz was also there with attorney Bob Shapiro. We were taken in rooms, forced to give oral sex to Donald J. Trump, forced to allow them to penetrate us. I was 13 years old when Donald J. Trump raped me. Ghislaine Maxwell was also present, and people still refuse to believe that any of this is true. Need I remind you, Mar-a-Lago is still a thing. I mean, roll the tapes to that weird party that they just had wearing all the animal masks. Meanwhile, people, their own American citizens, are getting shot in the face on the street. I really can't tell what kind of dystopian hellscape we're living in. If it's Squid Games, if it's Hunger Games, if it's Tender as the Flesh, or if it's a combination of all of these. But I am angry. And I am angry that people are looking at me weird for being angry. Why is nobody else as angry as me? Why is nothing happening? Why are you people in power? I'm sure somebody who can pull some strings is listening to my video by now, right? Why haven't you done anything? What is up with everybody sitting here tiptoeing around the legal red tape and legally this, legally that? Clearly this man doesn't care about legalities. Look at what's happening right now on our streets. And look at the Epstein files. When has this man ever cared? When? So when are we going to stop caring? Until he is out. Until he is out. And we have somebody worth our respect. So obviously in this section, we're talking about trafficking and what that looked like. Obviously how old the girls were. Young. Like crazy, right? But we haven't really seen much of like how it starts, okay? Like clearly, yes, the girls are there. They are being exploited and taken advantage of. They are being raped for money. All right. But how did they get there? I found this one. It's like a complaint form that I think can help people understand how easy it is for kids to get wrapped up in this kind of stuff, for this to happen to victims. Like, I don't want to say for kids to get wrapped up in this because it sounds like the kids pursuing it. All right. This one really hit close to home for me. Because you'll see why this all makes sense in a second. I'm also from the Midwest. I'm from Missouri. And my stepdad, the kind of the straw that broke the camel's back for me to finally tell somebody what was happening at my house was not when he almost took my life twice by strangulation. It wasn't that. It was actually when he sat me down and I had already caught him recording me through holes in my walls and stuff. And he had already been taking photos of me that were questionable, you know, like me completely muddy head to toe in a bathing suit, me pulling a needle with him standing right behind me, pelvis to pelvis. I mean, I could keep going, but it was when he sat me down on the edge of my bed and I was in 8th grade and I was sitting on my floor and I was just doing my hair. Just in my mirror doing my hair. And I was scrolling on my phone. And he walked through my door like a snake. Like, I'm not even kidding. It's like he slithered through my door. And then he shut the door quickly behind him quietly, which I thought was weird because I grew up in the kind of house where no privacy. You're getting the door slammed open anytime the parent wants to come in. So I thought that that was really weird, but who am I to question my parents, right? Like, he's doing what he's doing. I'm sitting on my bed and he's sitting here rubbing his hands together. He's acting really, really nervous. He's got like rubbing his knees, like hunched over, kind of like elbows on his knees sort of thing, that kind of position. And he wouldn't look at me. And he opens the conversation just casually, right? And then he says, you know how you've been wanting a job, right? And I got excited. I'm like, yeah, I've been wanting a job. Duh. I'm freaking 13, 14 years old. I'm into makeup, hair, you name it, I want to buy it, right? And we didn't have a lot of money growing up. We weren't a rich family. We weren't necessarily a poor family. We had what we needed and we got gifts on our birthdays and Christmas. Financially speaking, I had it very good. But we didn't have so much money that my mom was just sitting here giving me like an allowance for makeup and stuff. Of course, not even if we did have the allowance money, she probably still would not have. I'm literally trying to distract myself from telling you guys this story, but I think it's really important. And I've told it before. It's just always really hard to tell. So he says, you know, you want a job? And I'm like, yeah, of course I've been wanting a job. And he says, well, I have a job for you and it involves photography. I got really excited because it's the era of Instagram. All right, like 2013 era. And I was into taking pictures. Duh. I'm thinking like, wow, this could be my big break. I don't know. I'm in middle school. Okay. I'm going to get paid for something. This sounds exciting with a camera. That's when he says, but you won't be taking the pictures. You'll be in them. And they're not going to be pictures. It's going to be videos. I had no time to respond. He was kind of just talking so fast, or my brain was just slow motioning everything. I don't know. But I remember the next thing he said was, it would just be videos of me and you around the house, hugging, kissing, doing what we already do. But the less clothes you wear, the more money we will make. And you don't have to worry about it because it wouldn't be sold here in the United States. It would be sold overseas through my buddies at work. So you'll be okay. Nobody you know will ever see it. And I was silent. I mean, I knew things were bad, but that was just kind of like, if you experience like abuse as a kid, like there's a point in time where it really just smacks you in the face, whether it's when you're a kid or you're an adult. There's a point in time where life really just hits you in the face and it's like, yeah, that really happened to you. And it really was that bad. And that was kind of my moment for me where I was like, oh my God. And I didn't say anything. And I remember the last thing he said was something along the lines of like, I'll give you some time to think about it. And then the last thing he said before he left my room was, oh, and one more thing. Don't tell your mom. And I didn't for a while. I kept it to myself. I did reach out to a friend that night, and it's a long story on what happened after that and everything. But this one really hits close to home for me because I'm from the Midwest, and my stepdad, that's the route he was trying to take me down, is going somewhere to be filmed and recorded and starting at home. And then it's really scary. It's really scary because this is something that happened to just random girls that just wanted to be a model, that just wanted to be something. Like, they target kids who just want to be something. So I'm going to read this for you guys now. Attorney to Jane Doe contacted the Public Access Line Unit to report the sexual exploitation and rape of a minor child of 13 years of age by Donald J. Trump and Jeffrey E. Epstein. Blank stated that his client, Jane Doe, was enticed to cross state lines to visit with Epstein and Trump to perform sexual acts on both adult men at special parties hosted by Epstein. Doe was told that this was to further her modeling career and something she had to do. During the summer of 1994, after her 7th grade school year ended, Doe took a 3-day bus trip from her father's home in the Midwest under the pretense that she would be visiting her grandmother. Doe traveled instead to New York City, New York, in order to start a modeling career. Doe was initially turned down and asked to return with a portfolio at a later time. While waiting for her bus home, Doe was approached by, referred to hereafter as, and was urged to return to attend a party hosted by Epstein so that Doe could meet important people in that field of work who could help her break into a modeling career. Doe was also told that she would be paid for attending the party. Blank mailed Doe a buddy pass plane ticket to fly her back to New York. Doe attended 4 of these 3 parties and was paid around $500 for her attendance. Blank instructed Doe to use the name Blank at these parties. During the first party, Doe was asked to strip down to her underwear and give a massage to Epstein. Doe was asked by Epstein to do sexual acts, but she refused. Doe was later asked to massage the penis of Epstein's guest Trump with her hands. Doe was told that this was what she had to do in order to get a job, and Doe complied. During the second party, Doe was asked to perform oral sex on Trump and complied. During the third party, Doe was made to perform oral sex on Trump with another young girl named Blank. Epstein was angry that Trump was the one to take Doe's virginity, and then went on to rape Doe by vaginal and anal penetration with his penis. Doe struggled and was struck by both men during the assault. Doe was then threatened with violence by both men to not make any report of what happened. "We'll make you disappear like blank." Doe was not paid for this final party. Doe remained in contact with Blank after the final party, and Blank was regretful of what happened to Doe. Blank's job was to recruit young girls to attend Epstein's parties with the knowledge that they would be coerced into sexual activities. I really don't know how somebody could support that man. I really don't understand how people can still support him. I really don't understand. She just wanted to be a model. She just wanted to do something that she loved. She just wanted to be a model. And they did that to her. Our president of this country did this to kids. Our president, the current sitting president. The current sitting president did this, and he's still sitting there in that office right now. And yeah, I'm also mad about all the other presidents too, and every celebrity. The reason I'm harping, once again, so much on Trump is the fact that he is still in office and he is the president of the United States of America, who should be held at the highest standard. The president of America or a celebrity? I mean, we should all be holding everybody to the same standard, but like, the president. Nothing's being done about any of these people, though. But that man is still in office and people are still defending him. Girls and women to this man are nothing more than how Marcus viewed the heads in Tender is the Flesh. I think everybody should read that book to see how cold and callous human beings can be against other human beings, because if you have a shred of empathy, this may be hard for you to grasp. It's hard for me to grasp. They don't view us like humans. Now I think we should move on to the next kind of section of this video, and that is focusing on the forced pregnancies, the forced birth, the forced abortions, and the murder of children, of these babies. In particular, I'm going to be reading, I guess, like the diary entry, I guess you could say, of one of these victims who I believe was 15 or 16 years old, either when this happened / when she wrote it. It's going to be really hard, especially if you're a mom. I'm not even going to edit this part out. Like, I'm like really heartbroken. Like, I think that we all should just take a moment of silence for a second. And I'm not going to apologize for crying. I'm not going to apologize for any emotion. Because the only way anybody should feel about this is so upset. And it should be normal to visually show how upset you are by this. Like, I'm not even going to apologize. Like, I'm mad. And I'm not unreasonable for being this mad. And more people should be crying tears for these kids and the babies that these kids lost. Like, this is like really hard. Oh gosh, I thought I'd caught it, but I didn't. Okay, we're fine. Let's move on to the next section, okay? Like I said, they view us as just property, as cattle, similar to the way the people in the society of Tender is the Flesh viewed heads. And that even, extends to babies. Babies are just currency. It's like passing around your favorite chocolate bar. I have dark chocolate. You have white chocolate. Well, I want this chocolate. It's like literally like everybody has brought their favorite chocolate bar to the party and is like, oh, want to trade? That is how they discuss babies. Blank spoke of this going on at Zorro Ranch. She has said on record that Epstein offered her money to do this. Birth babies for black market use. Yeah, they have baby farms. Or had. Maybe still do. I don't know. And nobody's going to look into that. Nobody's going to investigate this. Hello, where are you at, justice system? Somewhere there's a baby farm where they're keeping men or women locked away for the sole purpose of being an incubator. And by the way, that was the case in Tender is the Flesh too. As you can see, the next couple things I'm going to read to you were actually originally written in like a code. So it reads like from top to bottom, top to bottom, top to bottom across 2 rows. But thankfully somebody decoded it and I can just read it from the files itself. But I just think that like it shows a lot of how private and secretive that these girls had to be. And by the way, also, it was not just girls in these files either. And I'm sorry for not mentioning that thus far. One boy that I can think of that stands out to me is Sasha Riley. And Sasha Riley actually harmed Donald Trump when Donald Trump ended up murdering his friend and then trying to take advantage of him. Donald Trump asked Sasha Riley to penetrate himself. Donald Trump even gave this young boy a condom, in which case Sasha Riley then put that condom on the end of a tent stake and shoved it where the sun don't shine. Close your eyes, close your eyes, close your eyes. Don't speak, she doesn't talk. I can't stop shaking and it's been a week. A decision was made, but I can't tell Jeffrey. These things happen. Why didn't I close my eyes fast enough? The doctor was different again, I think from Israel. He had kind eyes but didn't speak directly to me. This was different. A shot in those rod-like things that had a hook and so much pain. Ghislaine said to push all the pain away. I don't understand. Blood and water all over the bed, and she was right. Like a feeling when your tummy hurts and you have to push. She said to close my eyes and put her hands over my eyes, but I didn't close them because of the tiny cries. I am so lost. I saw between her fingers this tiny head and body in the doctor's hands. It reached its tiny arm up and had a tiny foot. I closed my eyes, and no more cries. I don't understand. Just say these things happen, but he doesn't believe that. They yelled and screamed, and he said it will be the same in a couple months, and she said she was fed up with it all. I don't understand what's going on, and no one will tell me. I can't go to school like this. I can't stop shaking. Why won't anyone make it stop? I know Ghislaine is trying, but nothing changes. Why didn't I close my eyes? This child was made to give birth so young she doesn't even understand what's happening. She describes contractions as her tummy hurting. She doesn't understand. Like, the only thing that her child self has to compare this to is a bad tummy ache. Like, and if you've never given birth, no child should have to go through that. Like, I've given birth multiple times. One of those being in my own home. So obviously no pain medication or anything. And as much as it was a good experience for me, and it's something I look back on very fondly, I'm not going to sit here and lie and say that it was easy. I literally felt like I was not going to be here anymore. I remember screaming, "Help, help, I'm dying." I was in my 20s. This is a kid who's feeling that same thing, except I was old enough to understand. I prepared for it. I got myself in that situation. I had been knowing that I was going to give birth at home. I had been preparing for how to manage myself. She couldn't. She's a kid. A kid. In the hall, Ghislaine said she was beautiful. She was, not is. She was a beautiful girl. I heard her. Where is she? Why did she stop whimpering? She was born. I heard the tiny cries. I can't do this anymore. And then the next page is a poem about stillborn. He was right. A couple of months in 2 pink lines with a hold on being with others until after it was positive. I want to die. Why didn't she protect me? As long as I'm wearing what you want, there is no respect for me as a human. I am nothing but your property and incubator. You only trust me when I am under your complete control. I will never trust another man, ever. I am the only one who provides and sacrifices everything. I give and give out of terror, and you take all of me. You need me to continue, keeping us all connected. Unlike drugs, a child's body can be sold over and over. This is not surprising, but there is no such thing as a child. They are children and cannot consent. They are missing the biggest in my own backyard and so many more, like Mar-a-Lago, where I see Mr. Joe and Mrs. Ann. Controlled all by Jeffrey, all the time. Get away from it all. And go to New Mexico? What in the hell? That makes no sense. What about school? Behind the scenes, he is now controlling everything when it used to be Ghislaine, who some days acts like she hates me. Secrets of all of them. I am tired of keeping this secret. I know people are wondering, but I can't tell. I'm exhausted. Broken promises. I don't understand why she is treating me on some days like I'm the enemy. But then we lay in bed together, and she is how she used to be. Warm. He makes her feel my tummy, and it's so sad and confusing. Superior gene pool? Why me? It makes no sense. Why my hair color and eye color? That feels very not like, but in thinking about these stupid, insane theories he has, I guess in his mind it makes sense. The piano and music comments are made to convince me this is right and will create perfect offspring, he calls them. I don't think it works that way, and it's making me hate playing altogether. Piano or viola. I'm starting to resent them both. I miss the person I was before I was made into what feels like a human incubator. And what about school? What about school? These cases are so heartbreaking because it's like these kids, like, they're still just thinking about child things like school and their friends. And April 22nd, I had no choice. I wasn't ready and she wasn't ready. My mother had found me and it was urgent. After so many bonding moments with Jeffrey, Ghislaine, their baby inside me with me in the middle, she wouldn't even look at me. We said nothing to one another, and I was so confused. When we arrived at Palm Beach, I was taken to a house close to Jeffrey's, I think called Ocean Boulevard or Street. But it was close, and I was alone, except for the new driver, Mr. Juan. An elderly French lady whose pictures on the wall didn't have her. She had a thick accent and was kind. Said she had been born to deliver babies and had been doing so since before I was born. Similar as the last one, with shot and hook, but too much with so much water and unbearable pain. She put her hands inside of me and seemed worried. I didn't understand something about the baby facing the wrong way and putting pressure on the placenta. Things would have to be different. She said I had to be brave and strong and listen to her directions so she could help safely get the baby out. I was terrified seeing so much blood on the bed and floor and started to panic. She had me flip over to my hands and knees and had me push, and it was so excruciating. I could feel everything as she tried to guide the baby out, but I was so tired. I felt I was dying, but suddenly she had caught a beautiful baby girl who made more than a whimper, but beautiful cries. She let me hold her and wash her and brought her back clean and perfect. She smelled so good and showed me how to feed her. But only after maybe 15 minutes, Mr. M came to take her. I was hysterical and begging for more time. He said those horrible girls were in the car waiting, but I wouldn't let her go. The old woman promised me she would be safe, and I had to let go. 4 pounds, 10 ounces, 18.5 inches long with beautiful long fingers. I am dead inside. Life has no meaning. I don't want to be here. Finally, we need to discuss the murder and consumption of children. I previously provided a tip about 3 weeks ago, maybe 4 weeks ago, under an alias I have for myself, blank. All the other details of the previous tip match all the information given in today's tip, except I am giving my real name. A detective from NYPD FBI Trafficking Task Force called me a couple of weeks ago from a 212 area code number. I talked to him for about 20 or 30 minutes about my being trafficked by my uncle and Jeffrey Epstein in 1984 while I was 13 and pregnant. I told him some other important information about other high-profile individuals involved in my sex trafficking and the murder and disposal of my newborn daughter because I gave birth to her while in the middle of this sex trafficking ordeal. I cannot remember the detective's name, nor do I have a number where I can contact him. Violation questions. What was the exact crime that occurred? Child sex trafficking and infanticide. When did the crime/incident occur? Please provide an approximate date and time. May through September 1984. Where did the crime and incident occur? Please provide the specific location and address if possible. Mostly from a yacht in Lake Michigan, originating from Mona Lake, Michigan. Additional info. I am just wanting to reconnect with the original detective that called me, and I offered information about this. How is contact known? He was orchestrating a deal, along with my uncle, where different men and a few women and girls would come to a variety of boats and yachts and pay money to force me to do blank with them when I was 13 and pregnant. Additional info. Again, just trying to find out the NYPD detective on the FBI Sex Trafficking Task Force that called me a couple of weeks ago and spoke to me about some of these issues. How is contact known? He participated regularly in paying money to force me to blank with him, and he was present when my uncle murdered my newborn child and disposed of the body in Lake Michigan. They took this 13-year-old girl's baby from her and disposed of it in a lake. And that is not the only absolutely depraved thing that they've done on a yacht. At 1200 hours, a male identified as one blank arrived at the C-20 office. Blank stated he was unemployed and resides with his mother and her unemployed morbidly obese boyfriend. Blank stated he has ingested hallucinogenic mushrooms as well as other illicit substances in the past and currently smokes marijuana. Blank reported being raped by his great uncle since the age of 5 years old until age 22. Blank described meeting Epstein at a yacht club in blank. Of his relatives were members. First at age 5 and later at age 8. Blank states he was raised by Epstein in 2000 on a large yacht 9 out of blank, as well as by former U.S. President William J. Clinton. Blank states the also current President Trump, along with his wife Melania, were present during the said yacht trip in 2000. Trump, not married to his current spouse Melania until 2005. Reports while being raped by Epstein and Clinton, he was heavy in a drug-induced state. Stated all of the above incidents were recovered repressed memories until he began therapy sometime in 2016 approximately. Blank offered no supporting or corroborating evidence or witnesses that could be contacted. Blank appeared to me emotionally unbalanced and not intoxicated. At this time, it is not recommended that any additional investigative resources be expended concerning Blank's claim. What is wrong with our law enforcement? It makes me so mad. It makes me so mad that a police officer can look at you and say, I hear all of your story, but sounds fake to me. Next. What do you mean? Or, I hear all of your story and I believe you, but you literally have no evidence to show me? Nothing at all? Nobody will corroborate your story? No? Okay, you must be lying. And we're not going to investigate this for you. So until 38,000 more victims come forward, looks like you're out of luck, dude. Oh, what world do we live in, guys? I'm waiting to wake up. I want to wake up tomorrow and everything be reset and actually live for justice for all, right? Let's all hope that maybe tomorrow could be the great reset. It goes on to say this. He has more to tell us too, he said. I'd like to add a few other points disclosed in the purported victim. While on this yacht, he witnessed African American males having sex sex with white blonde females, all of whom were bleeding during intercourse. He was a victim of a type of ritualistic sacrifice in which his feet were cut with a scimitar, but left no scarring. On the yacht, he witnessed babies being dismembered, their intestines removed, and individuals eating the feces from these intestines. I want somebody to explain to me right now why I'm constantly on the brink of getting canceled for saying people like this should be what we use for experiments instead of innocent animals. Why am I almost getting canceled for saying that? Please. Why am I almost getting canceled for saying, look at what they're doing? Them being is the easy way out for them, dude. If they're gonna be here, we could at least do something beneficial for all of humanity. And since you wanted to treat people like animals, well, great, we're replacing the animals with you. And now maybe we can progress our medicine faster. Maybe we can have better skincare products and stuff because we're actually testing this stuff on real human beings, not something similar to. But you know, I get why people want to cancel me for that because that sounds absolutely barbaric. But what I'm saying sounds more barbaric than that. Oh my God. There are also other emails where these sickos are comparing eating babies to cream cheese. I want to wake up. I really want to wake up. I am so triggered, especially by the way people are talking about this. Like, it's funny, it's lighthearted, it's like shock factor. Oh my God, can you believe that happened? Yeah, I can! Yes, I can believe that happened! I remember being called a crazy conspiracy theorist when Pizzagate was popping off and what was it, Frazzle Drip and all that. And Danielle, you're crazy, you read too much into everything. My whole friend group around me. I'm crazy conspiracy theory, Danielle. No, I'm not surprised. And it's not shock factor. This is real. This is real. And we should be surprised. But nobody wants to believe that this stuff happens. Guys, we cannot change our reality unless we start looking our reality in the face. And the reality is people are doing this probably right now. And the longer we act like it doesn't happen and we don't take it seriously and we don't push for investigations and we just brush everything off as a conspiracy theory, the more it's going to stay here, okay? And the Wayfair thing, like all of it, I believe all of it. I do. And not because I'm a conspiracy theorist, but because these people are sick and they hide in plain sight. I'll give you guys another personal anecdote from myself, right? Okay, so eventually, obviously, I ended up telling somebody at my school what was going on, and I got put in foster care, yada, yada, yada. All these years later, I'm still, to this day, want to get justice for myself. Will I ever probably get it? I don't know, unless there's a lawyer out there who actually wants to, like, give me a chance and explain to me what I can do. But I will never forget years ago, when I was doing my own personal investigation, because I was working with my local police department, trying to do whatever I can to get their police department to look into them and do something, right? So I'm trying to gather as much evidence as I can. And that's when I discover, through my own means and my own ways, I'm not going to get into all of that. If you guys followed me on TikTok, then you were along for that ride, right? My abuser was my stepdad. And my stepdad was following multiple weird accounts on Instagram. A lot of them being moving blanket accounts or moving accounts. But when you went to these moving websites, it was a fake website. Well, why is my dad, who was trying to traffic me, like physically traffic me, why is he following these random fake moving companies? That's weird. That's weird. Hidden in plain sight, right? Hidden in plain sight. He was also the same guy that was going on teen dating sites. Did you know that those even exist? At least they did back then. I mean, I feel like when it comes to kids, the most absurd claims should always be investigated. When we're talking about children being harmed, it should be investigated. Period. End of story. I cannot believe how long this has been going on. I cannot believe that right now, February, what is it? The 3rd of 2026. Nothing has been done. Thousands of pages of files. I mean, so much. The word cheese pizza, pizza in general, was mentioned in the Epstein files over 900 times, and that's just what we have so far. and nothing's being done. The point of my video today was to inform you about how heinous this really is. And to hopefully show you that it's okay for you to be angry. Even if nobody around you is angry, you should be. If you feel angry, be angry, dude. Be angry. We should be angry about this. And I want to do my part to make sure that the whole world never forgets what these sickos have done and what they are doing and are willing to do. Left wing, right wing, my favorite celebrity. I don't have a favorite celebrity, but if I did, my favorite musician, I don't care. I don't care. If they're in there, if they're involved, if they have harmed somebody, an animal, we all need to know about it. And they deserve nothing. But that is all I have for you guys today. If you guys enjoyed this video, let me know. There's definitely a lot more involved with the Epstein files that I could talk about, but I don't know why, but for some reason, this part of it really is just tearing me apart. And maybe it's because I have gone through child sex and that's really triggering, but I'm just reading these things from these little girls as a mom. I'm just imagining like my own kids. Like, I would never want my children to feel that way. And I could never, my heart breaks so much for these little kids that they felt that way, that they felt so scared and that these children just didn't even want to be here anymore. No child should ever have to live through that. Okay, seriously, this time, that is all I have for you guys today. I will see you guys on the next one. Don't stop being angry. Don't ever stop being angry. You are weird if you're not angry about this. You're the weird one.